Morning students, let us today we are going to do the revision of chapter 11 light, shadows and reflection. You are knowing that you have completed our chapter. We have done the question answers, short answers, long answers, everything, and on Saturday I am going to take a class test of this chapter, so get ready. Okay, now when we are revising it, let us revise what topics we have studied. Definition of light. What is the definition of light? Yes, light is a form of energy which produces the sensation of sight to our eyes. Okay. Now, do you know it is because of light only we are able to see the things. When light falls on objects, okay, some part of it is reflected, some part is absorbed, okay, and it is the reflected light only because of that which we are able to see those objects. Okay. Now, depending on the emission of light, the objects can be classified as luminous objects or non-luminous objects. What are luminous objects? Objects which emit light of their own, they are known as luminous objects. Example: sun, candle, star, bulb. Luminous objects can be categorized as natural and man-made. Sun and star, firefly, these are the natural, man-made, natural luminous objects. Whereas candle, bulb, these are all the man-made luminous objects. What are non-luminous objects? Objects which do not emit light of their own are known as non-luminous objects. Example: moon, trees, rivers, birds. These are non-luminous objects. Next comes how light travels. Light travels from a luminous body in all directions. Okay. Now, what is the path of light? The path of light is that the light travels in straight line, and that property is known as rectilinear propagation of light. We are knowing rectilinear. We have done the activity also to prove how light travels, or what is the direction of light, whether it travels in straight line or not. We have done, I think, 2 activities I have sent you in the presentation. Okay. Now, how the path of light is denoted diagrammatically. Path of light is denoted by, it is called as a ray, and it is denoted by a line and an arrow head. And a stream of light, that means number of light containing large number of rays, it is called as the beam of light. So till here it is clear. Next, what topic it is? Yes, objects can be, when light falls on the objects can be categorized as transparent, translucent and opaque objects. What are transparent objects? Objects which which allow light to pass through them, okay, are known as transparent objects. What are translucent objects? Objects which allow light partially to pass through them are known as translucent objects. And opaque objects which do not allow light to pass through them are known as opaque objects. Example of transparent, you just say air, clear water. They are examples of transparent objects. Translucent, what you say? Butter paper, tracing paper. Okay, these are examples of translucent objects. And opaque, which do not allow, you can say table, chair, okay, human body. These are all opaque objects. Okay, here we have, that means luminous, non-luminous, rectilinear propagation of light, transparent, translucent, opaque. Okay, these things we have clear. Now, what is the next topic which we come through? We will discuss about shadows. Now, shadows and reflection. What are shadow? A shadow is a dark space formed behind an opaque object when light is blocked by the object. Okay. Now, when an opaque object blocks the path of light, what happens? As light travels in straight line and it cannot bend around the corners, so a dark space is formed behind the opaque object, and that dark space is known as the shadow. Okay. Now, what are the characteristics of the shadow? Shadow is always black in color. Shadow gives the outline of the object, and shadow depends on the position of source of light and the position of the object. You might have seen when you go out in the sun, you see your shadow on the ground. And what are the 3 things essential for the formation of shadow? You need a source of light, you need an opaque object, and you need a screen. Okay, so you can see that in the morning, how are the shadows? In the morning and the evening, shadows are longer, whereas in the afternoon, shadows are shorter. Why? Because it depends on the position of the object and the position of the source of the light. And in the morning and evening, what happens is the slanting rays falls on you. So what happens? The shadows are longer. Whereas at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, what happens? Sun is overhead. Okay, so the distance between the position of the object, that means between you and the sun, is less. So what happens? Shadows are shorter. So the formation of shadow depends on the position of source of light, and it also depends on the position of the object. Okay. Now next comes reflection. I have told you there is a difference. Image, word you have heard. What is an image? You can see when you stand in front of a mirror, you see a copy of yourself in the mirror. That copy is called as the image. Now what is this phenomenon known as reflection? Reflection means bouncing of light at a surface is called reflection. Or you can say that changing of direction of light when light falls on a surface. That phenomenon is known as reflection. Okay. Now when light falls on any surface, it bounces off. Okay, but bounce is it happens that polished and metal surfaces reflect light better, whereas when it falls on an irregular surface, the reflected rays are not. You can say they don't form. The reflection is not better, and that is called as the irregular reflection. So no image is formed. Whereas when it falls on smooth and polished surfaces, what happens? The reflected light are in a the reflected rays are parallel to each other, and a clear image is formed. Okay, and clear image is formed, you know, where in mirrors or in the metal surfaces. Okay, now I have told you what is the diagram of reflection. Okay, now mirror diagrammatically is represented in this form. I think in diagram also I have shown you. Okay, the ray which falls on the mirror, that is known as the incident ray, and the ray which gets reflected back is known as the reflected ray. Okay, and where the incident ray and the reflected ray meet, it is called as the point of incidence. This is called as the point of incidence, and we represent it by capital O. And line drawn, imaginary line drawn at this point is known as the normal. Okay, and the angle which the incident ray makes with the normal is called as the angle of incidence, and the reflected ray which makes angle which the reflected ray makes with the normal is called as the angle of reflection. Okay, form images. A mirror reflects the light coming from an object. When this reflected light reaches our eyes, we see a copy of the object in the direction of reflected light, and we call this as the image of the object. Okay. Now what are the characteristics of the image formed in a plane mirror? Do you know? Yes, we have discussed it in the presentation also. I have told you. What are the characteristics? The image is virtual. That means virtual means if you place a screen behind the mirror, is the image formed on the screen? No. So such images are called as the virtual images. Virtual in meaning is known as imaginary. So the image formed in a mirror is virtual. Image is erect. That means is of same size and shape. That means suppose if we are standing, the same thing is we can see the image. Okay. And the third one is image is laterally inversed. What is meant by laterally inversed? Suppose you lift your right arm. Okay, what you feel that your image is lifting the left arm. Okay, this phenomenon of left appearing right and right appearing left is known as lateral inversion. So the image formed is laterally inverted, and the distance between the object, suppose if you are standing here in front of the mirror, and if you go closer to the mirror, what happens? You feel that the image is also coming closer to you or not? Okay, so what happens? The distance between the object and the mirror is same as the distance between the object and the image. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. Okay, now this completes the overall topics, I think, the revision of the chapter. Now to get prepared for the chapter, objective type questions will be asked on Saturday. I will give you the MCQs, and I have given some, I think name them I have given in the last video in PDF as a PDF. The answers of that I will send through PDF. Thank you, children.